You know that flash of iridescent blue and fiery orange that just blurs past you by the river? That's the kingfisher, the flying jewel. But for us photographers, trying to capture that beauty, well, that's one of the biggest challenges there is, especially its hunting dive. It's lightning fast. So let's dive in and figure out how to actually nail that perfect shot. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what makes this the impossible shot. Then, we'll get into developing the predictive eye and putting together our technical toolkit. After that, it's all about finding the strategic position. And finally, we'll talk about getting into the right mindset for a masterpiece. All right, let's start with the heart of the problem. Every single photographer who tries to capture a kingfisher runs headfirst into this one massive wall. It's unbelievable speed. And that's the question, isn't it? It can drive you crazy. 1 second the bird is sitting there, and the next, poof, it's gone. All you're left with is a splash and a totally empty frame. How on earth do you capture that single, perfect split second? I mean, to put it into perspective, a kingfisher smashes into the water at dozens of kilometers per hour. That's just faster than our eyes can really follow, let alone our reflexes. It is quite literally a blur. And this right here is the most important thing you're going to hear today. You cannot just react your way into a great kingfisher shot. It's impossible. Tossing more expensive gear at the problem isn't the answer. The real secret isn't in your camera, it's in learning to think ahead of the bird. Which leads us directly to the first major skill we need to build, developing a predictive eye. This is all about changing from just a photographer waiting for something to happen into an observer who can actually read the little clues the bird gives you right before it makes its move. Okay, so what are those clues? Well, check this out. It really comes down to 3 huge signs. First, and this is the biggest insider tip you'll ever get, watch for it to defecate. I know it sounds weird, but for some reason, a dive is almost certainly coming right after that. Second, you'll see its whole body tense up. It goes from this relaxed, kind of round shape to a sleek, slender arrow. And third, watch its head. It'll lock its gaze on one spot on the water, maybe with a few sharp little twitches. When you see that, it's go time. All right, so once you can predict the dive is coming, your camera has to be ready to perform. And again, this isn't about having the most expensive camera body. It's about having the right settings dialed in before the action even starts. These are the settings that matter most. Your number one priority, above all else, is shutter speed. You need at least 1/2000th of a second. Ideally, you're pushing 1/4000th. And to get there, don't you dare be afraid to crank up that ISO. A little bit of digital noise is way, way better than a blurry shot. For focus, you need it on continuous, AFC, and use a wider zone or group area. Trying to keep a single point on that tiny, fast-moving bird is just a recipe for frustration. Now, let's talk about your secret weapon. So many modern cameras have a feature called pre-capture or pro capture, and let me tell you, this is an absolute game changer. It basically starts recording photos the moment you have pressed the shutter. So when you finally slam that button down, it also saves the pictures from the half second before you reacted. It's like having superhuman reflexes built right into your camera. Seriously, use it. So you can read the bird's mind, your camera is all set up. The last piece of this puzzle is positioning. This is the strategy part, where you put yourself and where you aim that lens. And here is probably the biggest strategic tip I can give you. Stop trying to get the shot of the dive into the water. The entry is just too fast, too unpredictable. The much, much higher percentage shot, the one you'll actually get, is the takeoff out of the water. As the kingfisher bursts out, it's often got a fish, it's fighting gravity and water resistance, it's just that tiny bit slower. That is your golden moment. Aim for the exit, not the entry. And to really up your chances, you want the sun at your back for that beautiful front lighting. If you're wrestling a giant telephoto lens, a little dot sight can be a lifesaver for finding the bird way faster than squinting through the viewfinder. And of course, spend time just watching, learning its favorite purchase. And always, always use a blind. Getting your picture is never worth stressing out the bird. Okay, finally, let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the most important piece of all. We've gone over the tech and the strategy, but a true masterpiece, that comes from having the right mindset. And this chart really says it all. Your camera, your fancy lens, that's maybe 10% of the whole equation. The other 90%, it's just pure patient observation, learning that bird's habits, its territory, its rhythm, and then having the sheer stubbornness to sit there and wait for the perfect moment. And a huge part of that mindset is having deep respect for the animal. And this part is absolutely non-negotiable. You never ever approach a nesting site, especially during breeding season. The well-being of that bird and its family has to come first, always. No photo is worth ruining their lives. And that really just sums everything up, doesn't it? The real shortcut to an amazing photograph isn't a faster camera. It's becoming a student of the kingfisher itself, understanding its world, its behavior, its needs. That's how you get a shot that's more than just a picture. It's a piece of art. So there you have it. You've got the strategy, you've got the settings, and you've got the mindset. You know the secrets to predicting that impossible shot. The only question left is, when you finally capture that flying jewel, what is your masterpiece going to look like?